Arizonans are hurting. And what they're looking for is a United States senator that isn't going to go back to Washington, D.C. and just champion Democratic ideas or oppose Republican ideas. What Arizonans are looking for is a candidate and a U.S. senator that plans on focusing on quality ideas that are going to move our state forward. As Arizona's next U.S. senator, I don't care whether you're a member of the Tea Party.
Suggest is that he may, in fact, Mr. Steinhauser and others might be honest when they say we don't see racism. And what I mean by honest about that is that there is, in fact, a deep perceptual gulf. And I really mean not just
U.S. Senator, I don't care whether you're a member of the Tea Party or the
perceptual gulf. And I really mean not just attitude, but perception between black and white Americans in the United States. It's one of the most durable findings of social psychology, of political science, of sociology, is that white and black Americans really do see the world vastly differently.
Sincerity of misperception. I've always wondered if we're dealing with a kind of mental euphemism that when there have been previous backlashes against advances in relations between races, they were still in a time when it was okay to come out and campaign on the "we've done enough for them" platform, which was essentially done in 1966 by the Republicans. They won a boatload of seats in the House, running on those platforms after the Civil Rights Acts. Is it that you can't say something like that anymore in almost any aspect of society? Fringes, obviously, but not anywhere in the mainstream. Is this inability to see racism and to need to provide a euphemism for it internal? They need to believe there's no racism, therefore they don't see it?
Maybe, but it could also be simply that we've done a really bad job in this country of talking about what racism is. And so many may feel that if they don't use the N-word, or if they don't actively sort of, keep a black person from getting a job, or, spit on a black person when they see them, then they're not racist. And we haven't done a very good job of talking about the fact that if you regularly support public policy, which will have a disparate impact, creating greater inequality for people of color, that is racially biased. And we haven't talked about, for example, privilege, or we haven't talked...
As Arizona's next U.S. Senator, I don't care whether you're a member of the Tea Party or the Coffee Class.
For some time now, supporters of the Tea Party insisting its nearly all-white membership is not racist. Some of them just happen to carry racist signs. Some of them just happen to yell racial epithets at black members of Congress. Some of them just happen to sell T-shirts declaring, "Yup, I'm a racist." Our third story in the countdown is the nation's largest civil rights group vows to repudiate the racism of the Tea Party. One astroturfer in turn claims the Tea Party movement has a lot in common with the civil rights movement. No, in this country. The NAACP holding its annual convention in Kansas City this week, and members will vote on a resolution condemning the, quote, racist, unquote, elements of the Tea Party movement tomorrow. The resolution calling on all, quote, all people of goodwill to repudiate the racism of the Tea Parties and to stand in opposition to its drive to push our country back to the pre-civil rights era, charging that Tea Party supporters have engaged in explicitly racist behavior and displayed signs and posters intended to degrade people of color generally and President Obama specifically. The resolution also points to the incident involving African-American Congressman Emanuel Cleaver and John Lewis, protesters hurling racial epithets at Mr. Lewis and spitting on Mr. Cleaver as they walked into the Capitol to vote on health care reform. It also cites polling data that finds 52% of Tea Party supporters believe too much has been made of the problems facing black people. But never mind all that. Brendan Steinhauser of the AstroTurf group Freedom Works claims, "I just don't see racism in the Tea Party movement, and racism is something we're absolutely opposed to." He added, the NAACP has more of a political agenda now, but I would hope that they would appreciate the fact that the Tea Party movement has a lot in common with the civil rights movement. I'm personally inspired by what the civil rights movement did, and I want them to know that. Joining me now, MSNBC contributor, columnist for The Nation, and associate professor of politics and African American studies at Princeton University, Melissa Harris-Lacewell. Professor, good evening.
Good to see you.
There are videos, photographs, documented incidences, polls. How would you answer Mr. Steinhauser and the others who claim to not see any racism in the Tea Parties?
U.S. Senator, I don't care whether you're a member of the Tea Party